Welcome to Devotional Daily. Today is March 17. Our title is Justice That Exceeds. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:20. Preaching about sin is no easy task, as there are many pitfalls in this topic. Often, the sermon intended to call sin by its name becomes a moralistic scolding, which might make people feel bad without, however, leading them to the true purpose of the preaching, which is of a redemptive nature. On the other hand, when talking about sin, we might be tempted to trivialize it, considering it merely a superficial behavioral problem, minimizing its monstrous and lethal effects. Many Christians prefer to think of themselves not as sinners, but as decent people who only make a few mistakes here or there, but nothing serious. Ironically, it is the virtuous and decent people who are most susceptible to self-deception, like the Pharisees in the days of Jesus, who were capable of listing all the sinners in Judea without ever including themselves. Is it then surprising that Christ's harshest sermons, his devastating woes of Matthew 23, were not directed at the great sinners, but at the so-called holy ones? Blaise Pascal was right in saying that nothing offends us more than the doctrine of sin. Yet, without this mystery, the most incomprehensible of all, we are incomprehensible to ourselves. Speaking of fulfilling the law, in the Sermon of the Mount, Jesus includes the great need of exceeding the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees. How can this be? Do you remember the scribes and Pharisees? Meticulous observers of the law, extreme tithers, zealous Sabbath keepers, and strict regarding their health laws? They would be proudly accepted as members of any church today. How could someone far exceed the righteousness of these religious celebrities? Well, that was the problem. They trusted in their own righteousness. They considered themselves superior and, therefore, not in need of the true righteousness of Christ. It turns out that our own righteousness before God is worthless currency. The only righteousness that counts for salvation is the righteousness of Christ, which we receive only by faith.